Hi, I'm Brandi.
And I'm Maggie. And this season, we're sharing everything we know about how to job hunt in the age of AI because careers don't come with GPS. Finding a job is hard for everyone, but especially for new grads, career switchers, and people re entering the workforce. And we want to help because we've both been there. We've switched careers more than a few times, and these days we spend our time talking to hundreds of corporate recruiting teams about how they hire.
That's why on today's episode, we're diving deep into the job market. Why is it so tough to land a job these days and what you can do about it? Our goal is to get you started on your job search without, pulling your hair out or second guessing yourself.
That's right. We want to help you start navigating the job market with clarity and confidence. So, welcome to Career Unmapped.
So, Maggie, what is going on here? I just keep hearing people on TikTok and Reddit, they're freaking out about the job market, how hard it is today. What the hell is happening?
It's so funny you said TikTok because my brother literally called me freaking out after seeing a TikTok where they told him he needs to apply to 1,000 jobs just to hear back from one. First thing I said is that's horrible advice. And more importantly, please don't do that. He's super smart, super creative, has a ton of skills to contribute, and he's struggling with the job search just like everyone else. So what I told him is no matter how many jobs he applies to today, he needs to buckle up because this experience will probably take 6 months.
6 months?
Yeah.
I remember I was telling people 3 months, maybe up to 6 months, but it's sounding like that's the minimum. 6 months is the minimum. I mean, what are people supposed to do in the meantime? I can't imagine people going 6 months without work.
I know it sucks, but that's the reality because this just isn't our parents' job market anymore. The July jobs report from the Bureau of Labor Statistics said the number of people unemployed for more than 6 months today is 1.8 million people. That's almost 180,000 more people from last year. So my biggest piece of advice is that you have to prioritize your mental health. This is a marathon, not a sprint. You have to have realistic expectations. Otherwise, you're just going to really get down on yourself during this process. And most importantly, don't get down on yourself because it's not your fault if it takes a long time to find a job right now.
So let's dig into the data a little bit more, Maggie, if we can, because now I'm starting to wonder, why? Why is this happening? Is this affecting all industries, some industries around the world? What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question because the why really is nuanced. And simply put, a lot of it comes down to uncertainty. Companies aren't hiring like they used to because they're unsure about what is going on and what is ahead of them. And think about it, federal interest rates are up, trade policies keep shifting, VC funding is drying up, global conflicts are on the rise. All of that creates a ripple effect in the job market. Growth slows down. The first thing companies do is let go of recruiters and pause hiring. So even roles that you may have seen 6 months ago, they're gone. They're just not there anymore.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not just companies feeling all that uncertainty. The July jobs report also reported and highlighted how we're seeing double the amount of applicants. And I mean, you can only imagine it's because people who used to be in really stable jobs, I'm thinking federal government, right? Now they're looking for new jobs. Folks who might not have been looking for jobs are now looking for a plan B just in case something goes wrong. So, I mean, you said it. You got less recruiters who now have more work, who now have more people applying for jobs, well, that equals just a longer hiring process. And unfortunately, it's the job seeker who gets left behind.
Add to that the rise of AI, which is literally changing everything, and you have a whole other layer. So now companies are needing to redefine the kind of roles they need before they can even think about hiring for those roles, if they're going to hire for those roles at all. So questions I'm hearing in the market are, can this be automated? Can we consolidate teams? Can we use AI instead of hiring a human full time?
So I hope I'm not the only one that says I'm a little scared. Like this is kind of scary.
It is scary. I mean, I think anything that is so unknown and uncertain is scary. And that's why, my brother was so thankful that he had someone to call, calm him down, to help him focus on the right things. And that's why we're here. So fortunately, you have us to give you a new map to the job journey.
So the very first thing I want to tell everyone, and you've said this before, Maggie, you are not the problem. It's not you. It's the job market. It really is. And that is surprisingly enough a good thing. Because if you're not the problem, that means that we, as people who are in this industry and have spent a lot of time helping people find work, we can help give you the tools you need to navigate this shifting world, this new world of work.
Absolutely. So, Brandi, if you were in my brother's shoes trying to find a new job right now, what would you do?
Well, actually, I am sort of in your brother's shoes. Like him, I'm navigating the job market these days. Listen, I've been at my company for a while now, and usually around this time, I start thinking about, hey, what's next? What do I want to do next? Is that stay here and continue to move up the corporate ladder? Is that move someplace else? In either case, I'm on the job hunt, right? And unfortunately, even with all the information I know, even with everything that I've done in the past, this new job market has me going, no. Yeah. Where do I even start? But what I've decided to do is start at my base, start with my guiding principle, my guiding light, which has honestly always been this idea that like knowledge is power.
Absolutely.
How do I know where I can go if I don't know my starting point, if I don't know what the terrain looks like today? So for me, understanding what's happening in my industry before I start figuring out or putting in applications or figuring out what companies I want to dive into, I think that is the most important thing for me.
Absolutely. So is it too old-fashioned to say, listeners, grab a pen and paper because it's time to take some notes?
You can certainly do it the old-fashioned way. I mean, I did that for years. I would go out to literal newspapers and start doing industry research. I'd find the business section and just sort of read what's going on. You can do a lot of this online these days. So go out to popular industry blogs. You can literally Google popular blogs in blank industry. For me, it'd be HR or tech or AI. You can read investor reports as well. So if you land on a company website, they'll usually have an investors page if they're publicly traded, and they will tell you all about their business, what they care about, where they're spending their money. There's some really great nuggets to find there. You can also just go on news sites and read the business section. There's a lot of information there about those industries and what's happening and causing a lot of the shifts in the economy in those spaces. And then there's another place that no one ever talks about, but I want to highlight here because I think it is a super valuable resource. It's called ONET Online. It's a government website that will not only tell you about an industry or the kinds of jobs that are available, they'll also tell you about, what jobs or industries are really thriving, like who's hiring. And more importantly, because this is really hard to find, it'll give you salary data. How many times have we been told like, oh, you got to negotiate your salary, or recruiters are like, how much money do you want? What's your salary expectation?
During the
And
first conversation sometimes.
it's in the first conversation sometimes, and you go blank. I have no idea, because I'm like, where do I go? Glassdoor or something? No, go to ONET, because it has data aggregated from across industries, things that are like reported to the government. This is super, super helpful for that.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I don't know about you. I've definitely heard about people who unfortunately ask for too high of a salary because they just don't know. They think that's, hey, might as well go high, right? That is a negotiating tactic. But unfortunately, that sometimes just kicks them out of the process immediately. Oh, they want too much. Time to focus on someone else who maybe is more aligned with what they can actually offer. So, this all sounds really good. Not gonna lie, does sound like a lot of work though. And at the end of the day, when I've been looking for a job, it's when I've had a full-time job, and finding a job is a full-time job. So what about those people who maybe just don't have the time, energy, or willingness to do all of this just to find a new job?
Yeah, I get it. I'm in the same boat. It is a lot of work. But like you said, hey, job searching itself is a lot of work. And if you want to find the kind of job, the kind of career that not just pays well, but also really aligns with your values, with where you're wanting to go in the future, I think you have to start with somewhere, and with understanding what's out there first. And the reason we're doing all this research is to eventually narrow down your job search to just a few companies that within your industry that are doing well, that are hiring, and more importantly, looking for people just like you. This is so you can be more productive with your job search, instead of doing what I like to call the spray and pray method, which is just, I'm gonna put out 1,000 applications and hopefully someone comes through. But I mean, you're right. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort. It takes reading comprehension, all of which we might not have the ability to do at the moment. I get it. I am lazy. I'm going to tell you the lazy girl method to get this done. What I ended up using was ChatGPT to do all of the research for me.
I'm going to pause you right there. I love ChatGPT. I'm its biggest fan. I use it to literally plan out my whole life right now. But I know not everyone feels the same. My brother in particular was super skeptical. And when I kind of dug in, he said he didn't trust it because it was only giving him positive responses. And when I dug a bit deeper, I asked, well, did you specifically prompt it to share both positive and negative information? These Gen tools like ChatGPT, Perplexity, something else, whatever new one is coming up, which feels like on a daily basis these days, the most important part is your prompt. The more specific your prompt or your input, the more specific the output or its response. Yeah,
100%. I think being specific, super, super important. With that, I'm just going to give you my prompt. We'll put it in the show notes, so you don't have to start from scratch. You can just use what I use. But what I was trying to get to with ChatGPT was like, hey, if I can feed you enough information, you can do all this research for me, and I can get down to brass tacks to the companies that I want sooner, right? So I asked ChatGPT, like, help me understand what's happening in my industry, what's causing all this economic shift that we're seeing in the industry, what segments of my industry is this affecting the most? And then, because like I said, I wanted to narrow this down to companies that I should be targeting, I asked it to find companies that are looking for me. Like, I gave it my resume, like a basic one, like my name, job titles that I have, maybe some skills that I have, or like work that I've done. And then I said, hey, go find companies that are looking for similar job titles or looking for similar skills. I wanted to know what companies are succeeding despite the economic shifts, what companies are still hiring, what new companies are coming into the market, because I'm pretty open to also working for startups. So, my thought process was like, let me throw everything at ChatGPT, and it's smart enough to do all of this work for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the idea of really tailoring it to you. A full disclosure, I used to help students write resumes, and even I'm guilty of downloading my LinkedIn profile as a PDF and using it as a resume more than once. And so, you ask it these questions, you really tailor it to yourself. What did that result look like, and how did it compare to the approach that you used to take back in the day?
I mean, can I just say it was like the most helpful thing ever? Years ago when I used to do this, like the last time I had to look for a job, it took me like a whole week to do all this research, right? Because I mean, it's like combing through a lot of data, it's aggregating everything, and then it's going in and trying to look for companies and on career sites and job pages and LinkedIn. It's a lot of work. Pushing this to ChatGPT, I went from a week to, it took me maybe 5, max 10 minutes to write this prompt, gave it to ChatGPT. It took ChatGPT 15, 20 minutes to go out into the web, do all this research, and then aggregate all of that information into a spreadsheet that I'm now using for the job hunt. Like it had all the information, company name, their mission, which I really care about, the kind of jobs that they're hiring for, the URL to their jobs page, and a URL to a sample job description that I could look at. So all the information there, I just got to go through it.
That's amazing. I mean, I literally used to tell my students, organize all of this in a spreadsheet so that you can manage it, you can follow up, you can stay focused. But real quick, can you get a spreadsheet like that with the free version of ChatGPT, or do you have to pay for it?
Yeah, so a lot of this functionality comes with the free version, including the ability to like build a resume, which we'll talk all about in the next episode. And it could do a lot of the research that we're talking about. But, if you're actively job searching, I think it's definitely worth it to pay the $20 a month for a month or two, right? You don't necessarily need it for the full 6 months, but especially at the beginning of the job search, super, super beneficial. And then maybe if you want to do it for interviewing, hey, we can talk about what that looks like as well. But with the paid version, you do get access to their brand new AI agent, which does a lot of the actions that I'm talking about, the consolidation, the building of a spreadsheet, all from one prompt. That's what that's doing. That's on the paid version. And I think that's totally worth the $20, even if you just pay it once.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, time is the most important piece of the job process. And so that's my biggest piece of advice. Use tools to help you save time and focus on the right jobs to apply to so that you're actually spending your time doing quality work, not just busy work and kind of drowning in anxiety. So it really is quality versus quantity, despite how many jobs TikTok may be telling you to apply for. So in our show notes, we have resources and prompts, but the gist of it is, for an old school approach, we recommend reading 10K reports to learn more about what's going on with companies you're interested in. Use sites like Onet Online for trusted labor market data to help you figure out what salary you should be asking for based on the average income of your job in your state. And for the new approach, we recommend using specific prompts for new tools like ChatGPT and Perplexity, all with the goal of better understanding what's going on in your specific job market while saving you time in the process.
Yeah, remember, this is just the starting off point. We talked about this at the beginning. Like, this is a marathon, not a sprint. This research bit is the first step in that job hunt journey. In the next episode, we're going to teach you not just how to write a resume that really sings and has impact, but like what actually happens after you hit apply and why in the world aren't you getting the interview? Because we know we've talked to all sorts of people to help you figure that out.
So next month, stay tuned for another episode of Career Unmapped.